Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, and of course, the school district, we welcome you to the April 2016 School Board Candidate Forum. They will be running for a 3-year term. My name is, and you get to vote for 2 of them. I'll say that several times. My name is Becky Clausen. I'm treasurer of the League of Women Voters of St. Louis. And I want to thank each of the candidates for participating. In the order that they appear on the ballot: Jennifer Lonis, Stacy Alvin Wilson, and Robert Eaton. Before I read the ground rules for tonight, I want to thank a few individuals who have worked hard to make tonight possible. Julie Behrens and Anna Minnick, who do the magic stuff in our office, and Pat Jones, our candidate forum.
So they can't hear in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pat Jones, who's our candidate forum. And all the committed members of the League of Women Voters who showed up tonight to help. Nancy Billingsley, Susan Flugel, who's out front, Catherine Stinger, Sharon Campione, it's her first time, so she's a rookie, and Nancy Price. The League of Women Voters' mission is to empower citizens to participate meaningfully in the democratic process. The League believes that one of the best ways for voters to learn about people seeking election is to hear candidates speak and answer questions in a public forum. The rules for tonight's forum: the candidates are seated in the order that their names appear on the ballot. You will have the opportunity on April 5th to vote for 2 of these candidates. They will give their opening statements in the order that they're on the ballot and their closing statements in the reverse order. They will have 2 minutes for their opening and closing statements and have 1 minute to answer each question. They will have the right to speak to all questions, even if the question was posed specifically to another candidate. As you know, you write the questions out on a card, and Catherine magically figures out what the priorities. We want you to write questions of general interest and not about personal accusations. No misbehaving. The timer, Nancy Billingham, will time all opening and closing statements, and she will signal 30 seconds time remaining with the yellow sign. When the time's over, she will put up a red sign. I retain the right as moderator to combine questions that are similar and ensure that each candidate has an equal opportunity. If during our forum you have a new question or you feel like the candidates did not answer your question thoroughly, send it up again. It's fine to make audio or videotape recordings. I expect them to be on YouTube tonight. If we have any disruptive audience members, I will ask you to leave, or candidates. The League provides a service to all of you to encourage citizens' participation in government. Your school district is at a juncture, and let's be part of the solution. All righty, let's get started. Jennifer begins.
I had to write down my statement so you don't forget.
You're gonna, good voice.
Okay. Ritenour students, Ritenour teachers, Ritenour families, Ritenour community. You are the reason I stand before you today. I, Jennifer Lonis, am running for the Ritenour Board of Education because I am dedicated to providing the best opportunity for our students at Ritenour. They are my #1 priority. I will work to make sure they receive high educational excellence, are provided needed resources, and are encouraged to succeed and be the best person they can be. If I am so lucky to be a part of the board, I will work together with the other members as a team to progress our district. We need to make sure that as a full district, we are working together to continually move forward and improve as a whole. We need to make sure we are keeping up with educational studies, technologies, safety, and individual building needs. As PTO president of Marion Elementary, I was instrumental in getting their outdoor classroom built for their students and teachers. This provided them an area to get out of the normal classroom and study outside. I have brought families together to support our students and our teachers for fun activities as well as coming together as a community. Working with these families, we have established a weekend backpack program, which we have worked with the Ritenour Co-Care and Operation Food Search, and we're looking at putting it in every single school next year. My strengths include being detail-oriented, compassionate, and bringing people together to get things done. I am a great team player and believe strongly that working together with a diverse group of people will help improve and advance Ritenour into the leading school district it deserves to be recognized as. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stacy Albin Wilson. I apologize, I'm not as organized as Jennifer. But I want to thank everyone for being here. The last time I had come to the Women's League, there were about 10 people in the audience and only one candidate showed up. So I'm very thankful that everyone showed up. I don't know if many of you have read the local light or if you looked at the Ritenour News. I am a graduate of Ritenour. I graduated in 1989. I live in the community. I also work in the community. This is my home. Ritenour I have known since 1976, and I have seen the dramatic changes that have happened over the decades that I have been around in the neighborhood. We used to have chalkboards. We don't have chalkboards anymore. We have Promethean boards and marker boards. In 1989, when I graduated, Mr. Venn had his computer, and it was hidden in the corner of my classroom. It was not actively used in the classroom, and seeing teachers actually integrate the computers and the technology that they need to teach our kids, it's absolutely necessary. You go out into the workplace. Even when we went to Washington University with a group with Ritenour middle kids, everything was technology. That's the way everything is moving. Trying to keep our teachers, because they have all these continuing ed that they have to do, because education is just transitioning and changing. I'm sure if you look from 1960 to 1970 to 1980, there were changes, but within this new millennium, everything is changing even faster with the technology improving as much. The other thing is also keeping our buildings safe and secure. Back in 1989, when I had old buildings, everything has been changed and everything is new. And so we have to keep that up, because if you think about that, that was in 1989 and 1990. That's about 20 years ago, so we have to keep things in good shape. And so basically, I am ready to do this. I know it's involved. I'm ready for the time, and I hope that everything that you require of me, I can meet your expectations.
Good evening, my name is Rob Beaton. I graduated from Ritenour in 1999. I have two children in the district. I have a fourth grader over at Marvin. I have a kindergartner over at Iveland. I range the entire spectrum of this school. I've got a student in special school district, and I have a student in the gifted program. So I've seen all the in-betweens. I know where we need some help. I know where things are great. Some of the things that, I kind of echo what they've said with safe schools and communication and things like that. Drew a blank? I've got, I work in the community. I run a plumbing company locally. I'm an associate pastor in the community. So, I'm here, same as Stacy said, we eat, breathe, and live the Ritenour community. And it's time, we can't keep doing the same things that we did 20 years ago. We can't do the same things we did 5 years ago. We need to make this change, transition out, and start working in some different directions. If I am lucky enough to be elected onto your board, I would hope that I can help do that. To give you examples right now, I don't know, because the board is a team. We're not an individual person, we're not one person. We're a team of 8. We need to work together, because personally I believe the superintendent is a part of that team. We have to all work together in order to make this happen. So if I'm lucky enough to be voted onto your Board of Education, I know that you would be proud of the things that I'm looking to do.
All right, we are going to do no more clapping until the end. All right, the first question, and this is going to be Jennifer's. What do you think, she gets to be the first speaker. What do you think would make Ritenour more successful?
I think Ritenour has some of the best teachers, a great staff. What we need to do to make Ritenour more successful is to bring in more of our families, make them feel welcome, make them get involved, make them feel like they can get involved. I know when I first started taking my kids to the Early Childhood Center, I was very nervous about going into the PTO. Even just the PTO meeting, I got very nervous going in there. But we need to make sure that people feel welcome and get them involved and let them do. When you let others, they start to feel like they're a part of this community and they want to be more and they want to give more and they want to be more a part of it. That's what we need. We need our families to buy into our Ritenour teachers and our students, and it will come together as a whole. Thank you.
Right.
My turn.
Stacy?
I truly believe in order to make the Ritenour community more successful is really to have the reinvestment of the community, of parents, into our schools again. When I started at Wyland, there was a sign up to be room mom. I would sign up to be a helper, and lo and behold, I became the head room mom, which was fine. I was a little concerned because I never know how my patient schedule is going to be. But you know what? It ended up working out just fine. But to see some of these kids that are just absolutely so happy to have the involvement of other family members, somebody outside of the classroom, in their classroom, and interested in what's going on in their everyday life, is going to be one of the big motivational factors, I think. Because the truth of the matter is, everything is going at a wonderful rate of improvement, and I think it just needs to continue on that course with new direction and new stamina from other members.
What do I think can help improve the district? I think getting the community more involved, reaching out, making our friends, our neighbors, our family members. You know, I think it's very important to get parent involvement, and we need to work on that too. But starting to make the rest of the community feel involved and feel a part, whether it's in some of the reading programs, it's in the tutoring programs, where they feel like they have a say. They become proud of our buildings, they become proud of our district, and continuing to grow there, getting more parents involved. You know, I'll tell you how to do that, I don't know. I've been struggling with that since my daughter's been at Marvin, of trying to get people to come to parties, to get people to start doing things. But I think to help improve the district, we need to get the parents and the community more involved.
All right, second question, and this is, Stacy will begin on this one. What are the greatest challenges to the Ritenour School District in the years ahead?
The greatest challenges, I think, truly, and you see it in other districts right now, is going to have to deal with the economy that happened after 2008. Our teachers still are doing wonderful, and I believe that they've usually gotten their general 3% raises every year that they should have. But the thing is that when I looked at my personal property tax, and it was last year $1,200, and this year it was only $900, you're looking at a pool that's going into the kitty to be able to support the Ritenour School District, and it's getting smaller. The financial advisor I know has won wonderful accolades for the community to be able to keep our budget as wonderful as it is. And is everything streamlined? Yes, I believe so. But it's like we're going to have to really work hard to be able to get the financing that we need, because I can just see in the future that with Hazelwood, with Webster Groves, with Kirkwood, they're in the same fix. Luckily, we've had a very good backing with our budgeting.
One of the challenges, I think, is the poverty level in the area, is the fact that we have a ton of students on free and reduced lunch, that we have kids that aren't getting their needs met at home, their physical needs, in order to come to school and work on their and get their educational needs met. When they come to school hungry, when they come to school without the basics at home, they don't pay attention at school. So we need to work as a community to help fix some of that. I think Ritenour has done a great thing with every student gets breakfast and making sure the kids are fed, and that, you know, if there's a kid that needs a lunch, there's no kid that's gone without a lunch. They make sure that their needs are met during the day. And I think that one of our biggest challenges is the poverty level and trying to overcome that. But, you know, that's the same challenge everywhere else, so.
of our challenges. I noticed this at our the last board meeting. They were speaking about all the different schools, and they put up the stats on every school. There was a lot of out-of-school suspensions that I saw was a challenge that I would like to take on. How do we get our out-of-school suspensions to come down? The out-of-school suspensions are a disruption not just for our individual child, but also for the whole classroom that was in there, for the teachers that were in there. Not only do we send them out, but then we send them out and they're out and not in care. So are they at home doing nothing? How do we work with that? Is it an out-of-school suspension and you're on community service? And we have plenty of things to do in our community. We know that. And we can put those kids onto community service. And then bringing the kids back into the classroom, it's even harder on the teacher and the other students there. So I would like to address out-of-school suspensions as one of our challenges.
This question starts with Robert. How do you feel about the safety in our schools?
I think Ritenour has made wonderful strides to improve the safety. I think safety is first and foremost and for every one of our students and every one of our staff members as they go to work each day. I think there's still training that can be done. But to say that are we where we were 5 years ago, absolutely not. You know, when you can be when you're buzzed into a building, when you're asked questions of who you are, why you're there, I think we've come a long way. There's still some things that can be done, but that takes money to change some of the buildings and make them a little more secure as you walk in, where you can't get past, you know. Again, I know Marvin pretty well. You can get down a hallway before you ever make it to the office. Now, the office staff is wonderful about jumping up and chasing you down. Don't cross Donna. But, you know, there's some things like that we can do to improve some of the buildings, but we've come a long way in our safety.
Safety is very key in our schools, and I think that we've done a really good job. I hear all the time that our teachers are going through safety training, our administrative staffs are going through safety trainings, and again, you can't get through the door without being buzzed in. One thing I would like to say about the safety, somebody had brought to my attention an issue that had happened with a child that was waiting for a bus, and the bus was in front of a sex offender's house, and the sex offender house was within a certain range of the school. And I was able to call up Dr. Kilbride, set up a meeting. We talked about it. He came up with some great ideas about working with the city. You know, so jumping in there and hearing what those concerns are from our customers, from our families, and then making sure that we address them right away. I was very thankful for that, and then when I went back and reported it to the parent, they were very thankful too.
Safety and security, even with psychology and teaching and learning, the Maslow's hierarchy is like the #1 thing. Learning doesn't happen unless you have safety and security. I've been very impressed. It's not just tornado drills, they have intruder drills. Whenever there's been anything that has gone on in the United States, they're doing the research and they're making sure to get everything in place so that our children are safe in the classroom. But I think another area that needs to be drawn upon is also the community, the police department. We have the DARE programs. I have never once felt insecure or worried that my child was not safe at school. So I think the strides are being done. It's just a matter of still keeping up with it and keeping our kids safe.
All right, question number 4, Jennifer. How important is transparency and ethical behavior for this position, and why?
It's very important to be ethical in this position because people look up to you. The kids, you're representing a school district and you're representing the kids in this position. So we want to make sure that everything that we do in this position is honorable and what we would want anybody to think of in Ritenour. I know several, will be doing different trainings and different courses and participating in those things. So, we need to make sure that we are being ethical and that we are doing things by the book. I think Ritenour does a pretty good job of doing that, and when things become an issue, I think that they're pretty good about addressing those too. So,
Transparency is very important because we represent the community. You don't want to violate intelligence, autonomy, or self-esteem. Those three factors, essentially, according to my ethics class that I took at least in college, I live by those every single day because you have to have some standard at which to hold yourself to. In terms of with the school board itself, you hope that they also as well have a certain level of being able to understand the difference in what is ethical and unethical, but transparency is very important. We do represent our community, and if anything that we all do understand, if you go out in other areas, a lot of times whenever you say that you go to Ritenour, you aren't necessarily met with, wow, that's an awesome school. And I think that that needs to be changed, and I don't think it's based upon anybody being unethical or not being transparent, but I think it's just having the support of the community and writing forward exactly what you have to do.
Again, I'm going to go back, as I said at the beginning, I'm an associate pastor. There's a scripture that says we are known by the fruits that we bear. So to me, ethics is first and foremost, because that is who I am. And that is how people know me. I can stand here and tell you one thing, but my actions speak a whole other story if you're unethical. And so that, I believe that ethics is probably the most important portion for me personally, for any one of us, for our school board now, our teachers, our principals. We're teaching our students every single day to be honest and then if they could look at us and see that we're not, we have a problem. So for me personally, I think ethics is one of the most important parts of human beings.
All right, question number 5. And I am reading this because I'm not part of Ritenour. We, Ritenour as a whole, seem to be outgrowing our schools. What can we plan for the future to combat this? And this is yours, Stacy, first.
We are definitely outgrowing our schools. That would be something that you'd have to work together with the school board to be able to figure out exactly what the long-term plans are in terms of, I know at Wineland they changed the stage to a couple extra classrooms, and I know that usually somewhere along the lines means that we have to start including like building more buildings for our kids. I just remember what happened in 1990 with Ed and my niece Michelle, and they had to be in trailers or they had to switch to different schools. So I can't honestly say, oh, let's raise our taxes and do this. It doesn't work like that. You have to work collaboratively with the school board, and you have to have a committee to work on that so that we can solve that problem.
Do we have an issue with our buildings and sizes? Yes, we do. Iveland has trailers that they're using for classrooms. Marvin has turned janitor's closets into classrooms. We've given up stages. We've given up areas of cafeterias. We've given up a lot of room to make room for our students. What does that say to me? It says a couple things. It says that we are a district that people are coming to. So we've got students moving into our buildings, and the long-term solution, we're gonna have to work together to tell you, here's what I wanna do right now. I don't know. I know as a team, we need to work together and figure out what the best solution is to take care of housing our students. But hopefully, for the community, this is a problem we continue to have, and I say that because that means people are moving into our communities, our property values are going up, our houses are going up. So to me, that's a good thing, and that's a problem that I'm ready to tackle.
Jennifer?
We have definitely outgrown our schools. It becomes a major issue for our teachers alone because they're housing more students in their classroom than is manageable. So the answer, I know right now is putting the trailers at the schools, but we really need to think about what we're going forward to in the future, and we need to plan for that. We need to plan so that we're going, we're not fast planning and it's not the right plan. So we need to make sure we put the right plan in place. I have thought about different ways that we could do this. There was even a thought of moving a middle school to 5-6 and the other middle school to 7-8. so that we could start to fit people in a little bit better so that we're not overcrowding our classrooms. But we need to make sure that we're getting in more teachers that can accommodate all that. So, you know, we need to really work together to find out how that's gonna be, because we don't wanna damage the other, I'm sorry. You told me to stop.
She's not gonna damage something.
We don't wanna damage the growth of, I'm at Marion, or, you know, we wanna make sure that the kids still feel that they're not getting knocked out of their school. Thank you, sorry.
All right, question number 6, and Robert, you begin with this one. Why did you, I love some of these questions. Why did you file, you must have been filed on the last day, and why did you file on the first day? Because the ballot order has to do with filing, and someone's interested in why.
To me, it wasn't prior to Christmas vacation, I went up and had a conversation with Michelle and Dr. Kilbride, and so it was just a matter of timing on, running a company and doing things and trying to get up to the office, and then snow day, and so, it was just more of a logistics and timing thing. There was never a question of did I want to do it. When I picked it up prior to Christmas vacation, it was filled out and just sitting there ready to go. I never made it that far, just timing.
This must have been the first day.
Yes. I filed on the first day. I've known for a very long time. I've been attending the board meetings for the last year, every single one. I know for a long time that this is what I wanted to do as my next step of being a part of this Ritenour community and giving back. And if I could tell you a funny story, when I first started in kindergarten with my daughters for Girl Scouts, I sat there with my binder. Here I sit with my binder again, very excited to be a Girl Scout leader. And I sat there and I'm like sitting there going, okay, just throw your hand up first, be the first one so that they'll pick you to be the leader. And when they asked who wants to be a leader, I threw my hand up in the air, looked around the room and realized there was nobody else with their hand in the air. So I wanted to make sure that on the first day I was here to throw up my hand and say that pick me, I wanted to be on the board.
Okay. You want to address this question, why you were in the middle?
Well, she wasn't. She was
We
sitting next to
actually had to
me.
pick from a baggie.
So you both did the first day?
Yes,
Okay. So you want to talk about why you,
absolutely. Probably over the last 4 to 5 years, my daughter started up at Wyland, and the thing is that to see her growth and to be able to know that there was a time period where I knew that she was doing well and she was independent and on her own, that would give me the time, because in all honesty, I understand the time that is required to be on the board. And I knew when I put my name down, whether I get on or not, I know that I have to be completely invested at making the meetings and being there for the extra times, because it's more than just Thursday nights. It's a lot of the time, and I get that. And so I was at a point in my life where I feel comfortable that Anna could do quite well on her homework on her own, and I was good to see that, and it's giving me the opportunity to give back to my community that I came from. The reason why I'm a dentist is because I went to Ritenour, and I'm glad to be back, and I want to give more.
all right. Next question. And Jennifer, you get this one. Will there be a study hall for students? Do you understand?
Probably in high school.
I don't know. It says some children need more time since they might need some help in study hall.
Okay.
Or is that not a good question?
No, I think
Does it
it's
make
an
sense?
okay question.
Okay.
Might not answer
Have
it
they
the
ever
way that they
made
want to.
study halls at the high school or something?
So they're moving, they're trying to decide which schedule, I think. They're still trying to decide between the two of them. And so I believe that one of them will allow for a time when they can actually have a study time put into it.
At school.
Yes, at school. I think it's a great thing. When I went to school, I needed that study time because I worked at night. And so it was hard to be able to get all of my homework done at night. I worked, and probably a lot of the kids in our school district actually have jobs and work. So we need to make sure that they have that study time during the day to be able to get their time in. And plus, it's a good time for them to collaborate, study with other students. So I hope they do have a study. I hope that is the question.
I think it was.
Okay.
Stacy?
And thinking about how the calendar is going to be over the next couple of years, I think study hall is an excellent idea, especially if you have children that do not have access, especially when we didn't have the libraries open. A lot of kids don't have computers and they don't have access to the internet. And if they have either, because I know Pearson's, and I had some of her math projects, and we would argue about how to do things, and I just go on and voila, oh, they're doing it differently nowadays. I think having that access, and for the kids to be able to look over, again, if they need to look over to see how to do a math problem, I think the whole key factor is having a teacher-led study hall so that you can have students not only being supervised, so that they have a safe environment, but yet they still have access, hopefully in a library where they can get books or they can go on the computer if they need to.
Do I think having a study hall is important inside our schools? Absolutely. There's resources that they're not going to get at home. There's things that they can get at school that they can't get from your house, and help and things like that. Am I going to promise somebody that there's going to be study hall in the high school? I don't believe that's the board's decision. I think that's why we hire superintendents, assistant superintendents, principals that do the studies, that do all of those things to put together and make recommendations. So to say that I'm going to tell you 100% yes, there's going to be a study hall, I can't do that. Would I hope there is? Yeah, I would hope there is, but I can't promise you that.
This starts with Stacy. Why do you want this position? And if you're not elected, what's your next step?
I pretty much would like to be on the school board to be part of the collaborative process to help move our district into the next century. I really do. What will I do if I don't get on? I'll do exactly what I'm doing now. I'll be active in my PTO. We have student-led teacher conferences coming up tomorrow night. I'm still going to be actively involved no matter what. I think this is the ultimate form of being able to commit your time to what you really love and improving not only the community but also the district as well.
Why do I want to be in this position? For all the fame? No, I'm kidding. Because I feel very strongly about our school district. I feel very strongly about our kids. I think the best way to help fix things and make changes is to get involved. The only way we're going to make changes is to be involved. What happens if I don't win? I'll still be as active in my kids' school as I am. Principals will still know who I am. It doesn't mean I disappeared. And we'll go from there. But I really think that I would be a good fit, and think that's why I want to do it. I'm at a time in my life that I'm ready to do it and give back.
So, why do I want to do this? Well, this is where I get emotional. I want to do this for every kid out there. I want to give them every opportunity. I believe in every one of them. And I want to see them succeed and have everything that they could have. I'm sorry, I'm an emotional person. And this is where, I mean, it's truly it. Being at Marion, I've met some of the greatest kids. I've met some of the greatest kids in the other schools by being collaborative with the other PTOs and meeting their families and meeting the kids at their school. Girl Scouts I've met, I have my Girl Scouts, I have the Girl Scouts all around the district. And I honestly want the best for them.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Robert, there's an agenda here I don't know about, but would you like to speak on, if elected, one of your first duties would be a vote on filling the vacated position? Do you have any feelings about that?
Have I heard Jennifer and Stacy's views on things? Yes. We know where the three of us stand, you know where the three of us stand. To tell you the views on the other two people that have submitted letters, I don't know. I don't know their visions, why they've submitted letter, why they're looking at being a part of the board. So at this point in time, if elected, then I will have to sit through those interviews and hear the reasoning behind it and make a decision at that point.
Right.
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
The question is, what are your feelings about the vacated position that you would be voting on? If you want to even address that.
I think a simple answer is, we need to, so if I'm elected, then the vacated position, we would have to have the interviews with everybody and see who would be the best person to fit into that spot. And with that, it's just like any kind of interview, we need to make sure that we're finding the best person that's gonna fit on the team and make sure that person fits in there with us. It's kind of a difficult.
Well, there's something going on that I don't know about, but that's fine. All right? You wanna
It
say-
would have to be a collaborative effort. Once you go through the process of actually being on the board, and then you would have to actually sit and go through the interview process so that you can kind of find out who really is going to be the best person to fill that position, because I think it's only going to be for a year after that.
By the way, it's the day after the election.
Yeah.
The board meeting is?
The
That'd be
interviews.
great.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even be voting.
When, does anybody, you would know? All right, if they're elected,
So the
when are they?
process is the election is on the 5th, on the 6th, the people that have applied for the vacant position, and it is only for 1 year till the next election cycle. There will be an interview process. They've already been given their materials, so they know what the questions are that they need to answer, and then the sitting board will review there will be an interview process for the questions that they have. The candidates that have won the election are invited to attend and observe the interview process. And then at the Board of Education meeting on April 14th, the business meeting where the new board members will be sworn in, that is, at that time, they will appoint the person, which would be the week after.
So
we
they
will.
would be part of the voting group?
Yes, so we will swear in the candidates that have won the election,
Mhm.
and we would have 6 board members at that time. And then then after they're sworn in, the 6 board members will appoint the 7th board member, then that person will be sworn in and seated.
Are there any questions, since we got it from the person that knows?
Yeah.
All right. Jennifer, this is yours. What are some ways you plan to bring together the community?
What are some ways to bring together the community? I've been pretty instrumental in working with different areas of our community. A couple of years ago, I brought it to Dr. LaChance that I would like to see our PTO presidents get together, because we had a lot of PTOs doing a lot of great things, but we were all spinning our wheels on things that we needed help with. So by bringing the PTO presidents together, we have been able to help each other. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'm really excited about is that we have an all-district movie license, so we don't all have to go out and get our own movie license. So that was a great thing. The other thing is I work very closely with different other groups in our area. We have the Ritenour Co-Care that I've worked with, and I've talked about with the food pantry. But one of the best parts of working with everybody in the community is encouraging them to be a part of this. It's a great success, and I can always reach out. I always get to stop. I love reaching out to people and making them feel a part. Sorry.
Could you repeat the question for me? I was listening intently. I'm sorry.
What are your visions? Oh, excuse me, what are some ways you plan to bring together the community?
To bring together the community, I really think that it's been wonderful working, that I've seen how Mayor Schneider works with the school board. I think that that's imperative, but also bringing all the other mayors from all the other areas like St. Anne. I think that's a huge plus that we could do. Also working with the PTOs. One of the other things that I noticed is that when I go to the PTO, a lot of the ones that don't necessarily speak English, I wish we could outreach to those parents as well, because I think that they would have a lot of wonderful input as well. And so that's just, like I said, bringing more of the community so that we can bring more to our school district. I think it's an untapped resource.
Wow, that's an unfair question to ask. Now that those two answered. You know, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of Stacy. I feel very strongly of working with our mayors and that in the other municipalities, our aldermen, and getting them involved. A couple weeks ago, we were at a meeting here at the central office, and Mayor Schneider and Mr. Crowder explained what they're doing with our kids and bringing them into helping feed the senior citizens and things like that. And that has reached out, and those senior citizens now want to give back to that school and give back to those kids. And I think reaching out, a starting point is reaching out to our mayors and our aldermen and working with them to get in place a way for the students to give back and then for the community to want to give back.
All right, Stacy, you get this one first. As a new Ritenour School Board member, what is your vision for the staff currently and in 5 years and in 10 years? This is that question you always hated.
In terms of the staff, I've been very impressed with the administration. When you speak staff, it's not just the teachers. You're talking about everyone who is from janitorial, custodial, to everyone who is working even in the cafeteria. I mean, I am so thankful that we actually have our own cafeteria employees instead of outsourcing. I think keeping people within the community and keeping them actually ingrained within our school district is one of the most important things. In terms of staff, I know that compared to when I was going through school, many of them were maybe 4 or 5 years short of retirement. So my group was much older, and some of them had even taught my brother. Whereas now when I walk into a school, many of the staff are in their late 20s, 30s. And so trying to keep the staff, keep the ones that are just absolutely working so hard and doing so well, and encouraging more teachers to be able to join us, especially since we have such a boom of children within our district as well.
My vision for the staff is that we continue, I think Ritenour does an outstanding job of staff development and developing our teachers and continuing to teach them and give them continuing education. I think we've seen that very much so in the last couple of weeks when we've lost 2 assistant superintendents to positions of superintendents in other districts. So we're doing something right. We're doing something very right. And you know, I think that my vision was to keep our staff, to grow our staff, to keep them to be part of this community and part of the student process, because when they're here and they keep seeing the same students, and then my daughter can tell my son, hey, you're going to get this teacher, and the stories that come along, I think that's very important. So we need to continue to take care of our staff, just as I think the district has been doing.
So my vision for the staff would be to make sure that we are bringing in, obviously we're growing, so make sure that we're bringing in the best. And to bring in the best, we need to be the best. We want people, we want the teachers, we want the staff, we want them to feel like, I want to be a part of the Ritenour School District. I want to be a part of that great success that's going on there. I want to be a part of that fantastic group of kids that we're working with. We need to make sure that our staff is growing and that they're being fully given every opportunity, meaning that they're able to succeed in their classrooms, making sure that their technology is continuing to go up, making sure that their students are growing and behaving and being a part of that and getting everything they need. We need to make sure that the staff is getting there. And there's my stop sign. Thank you.
All right, we're coming almost to the end of the questions. If anybody has a question, we have 10 more, and then they're going to do their final. So if anybody has a burning question right now, please write it.
I do. Can we turn the heat down just a little bit?
Isn't it hot? Yes. Yeah, I can't quite figure that one out.
I think somebody, oh, here it is, right here.
Robert, you begin with this, and it has to do with accreditation. Can you speak to the status of accreditation now and what's happening on that?
At this point, I mean, again, I think the three of us would agree we're not current board members, so some of those things we don't have all the answers to. I think that from what I do understand, we are an accredited school. We continue to improve, our numbers continue to go up, our discipline's starting to come down. So I think we're making steps in the right direction. I don't foresee that we are losing accreditation anytime soon. But that's why I want to serve on your board, is I want to continue to be that person to help us continue to move up, to continue to think outside of the box, to look at other ways to doing things, making changes. Again, what worked 5 years ago doesn't work today, and how can we continue to grow and stay as an accredited school district?
All right. Jennifer?
Ritenour is a fully accredited school. And I can tell you from the previous meeting, we got to see the review of all the different schools and how they fit into the accreditation, the MSIP 5. Our schools have struggling areas, but the great thing is the schools also have put into place plans on how they're going to fix those issues. One thing I would like to see is unity across our schools. One thing I heard when we were having the meeting last time, there were schools doing these great things and schools over here struggling with these things, but this great thing over here could help that struggling school. We need to unify, make sure that we're sharing that information across our schools. And we need to make sure also that our middle schools are ready and we are getting our elementary to feed into our middle schools properly. So making sure that we're kind of unified, so that when we go into the middle schools, it's not such a hard transition for our children, and then into the high school too.
We are accredited. I think that that's always a striving aspiration and goal. I think that's always going to be something that you have to keep up with, because I think it's very transitional and it changes. It's just like 1 year it's core curriculum. Well, they throw that out, and now it's not MAP testing anymore. And so the thing is keeping on top of what are the requirements for accreditation. I see the great and enormous strides that every school has made, and they're really keeping up with it. And I think really it's the board and the schools setting their goals, meeting their goals, because it's just something that is so transitional and changing right now. It'll be interesting to see what the next decision is going to be for what actually meets accreditation within the next 5 years.
All right, we got one hot off the press. Jennifer, you get this one. When students receive failing grades, what do you see as the role of the various stakeholders within the school and the family?
Can you say it one more time?
All right, this has to do with if a student receives a failing grade, who do you see needs to address of the stakeholders, the parent, the child, the parent, the teacher, who needs to address this problem, and how do you see that?
Well, first, I believe the students should learn to take responsibility, that they had the issue. And we need to make sure that our teachers are working well with our parents to find out why that student had that. Sometimes it's not always an actual issue of them not understanding something. There could be other things going on. So we need to make sure that if it's an emotional issue that the kids are having, we need to make sure to address that. Along with that, we should make sure that our principals are well aware of it and that they're putting plans in place for these children to make sure that they can succeed. We want to see growth. In the elementary school, we don't use necessarily the ABCD. We use the, they're developing and everything. And so we need to make sure that we're seeing these kids progress. And if they're not progressing, how do we work with the parents? How do we bring in the teacher? How do we bring in everyone in that school to help them? Counselors too.
I believe it's a collaborative effort. When you have a child who's failing, you have to look at so many aspects. You have to bring in and make sure that you're speaking with the counselor, the parents, of course the child, and find out what is actually at the core source of their failing and how you can address it so that they themselves, what can you do, and put a plan in place so that they can work on that to be able to bring that grade up or change the learning environment that they're in. So many times now that I hear that, children are being actually diagnosed at a higher rate even for special school districts. And sometimes it's a matter of how are you learning? I don't think it's necessarily a simple answer, but I think it has to be a collaborative effort between all of our professionals that are in our district, depending upon what school they're in.
I believe let's first and foremost, we need to have a conversation with the student. The student needs to take responsibility. Sometimes it's just, hey, I didn't have time to study. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it's digging in a little bit more, whether it's talking to mom, dad, grandparents, whoever the home person is, that we can sit down. It's the teacher's job to help have that conversation. Then we get the principals. I think we have to work together to just say, okay, well, it's your job to do this, and you need to make sure that that doesn't work. Again, I will go back to, I have a student in a special school district, I have a student in the gifted program. And sometimes an F doesn't mean an F. An F means that, hey, it's a whole lot better than what it was, because that F can be a 50% or that F can be a 2%. And so where did we fall in that F range? Was there improvement? So I think it's a collaborative work. It's a lot of having conversations and talking between the students, the parents, the teachers, the principals, things like that.
Alrighty, I'm going to ask you to prepare for your final statements. And while they're doing that, I want to remind you that the League of Women Voters puts together a voter's guide. It is now online on our website and on the Post-Dispatch website. So the candidates have had the opportunity to answer questions, why you think we should vote for them. And that's true for all the elections that are going on. On March 25th, which is this Friday, the whole voter's guide will be in the Post-Dispatch. And starting early next week, all the Schnuck stores will have them, and all the libraries. Actually, we'll start delivering them as soon as we get them.
And they'll be free.
They're free. And we don't want to have them in our office, so come get them. The polls will be open on April 5th from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you'll get the normal postcard in the mail. And I remind you that democracy is not a spectator sport. You can make a difference. I am going to ask each of the candidates, and your name is?
Mine?
Yes.
Michelle.
Michelle, to stay up here afterwards to answer questions. Someone wants some clarification from you, and I'm sure people will want to thank you for what you're trying to do and give their opinion on a few more things. You are first, Robert.
Again, I want to thank you for coming out tonight and listening to what we had to say. I'm sure Jennifer and Stacy can both agree. We've tried to pack a whole lot of things into 1-minute sentences. So please, on the website, on the Facebook page, there's our phone number, our emails. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I think Ritenour is a great district. I think we are continuing to be a great district. Why do I want to run? Do I want to say that, there's so many things wrong that we've got to fix? No, but we can continue to get better. We can continue to work and think outside of the box, continue to grow as a district, continue to listen to our parents, continue to listen to our community, and we can continue to grow and continue to be the great district that Ritenour is and continue to have the great things that we hear about us for the future. So thank you very much.
No.
Huh? Oh, I thought you went backwards.
Yeah.
You said that.
Oh, go.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. I have my email address. You can call me. I work in the area. I'm usually very accessible to be able to get to. I guess my main thing is I'm very excited about being a part of the Ritenour School District in a much more involved way, being in on the actual school board. So thank you so much for coming out tonight.
I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and writing down the questions and putting us on the hot seat. It's nice to be able to answer these questions for everybody. We get some when we go door to door, but these are great questions for us to really think about. So I thank you for that. I plan on bringing a lot of energy to the district. I'm excited, and I get very excited and ready to work and collaborate and be a team with everybody. So I look forward to that. I think I missed answering one part of one question. It says, if not elected, what will I continue to do? And I'll continue to work fully with the district. And I'll keep going forward. And I'll be back next year. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for everybody coming out. And remember, I'm here because I want the best for every single child. And I can't wait to be a part of that team. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just a minute. Michelle, would you stand up? Because she knows everything. With the voting, do the current board vote in the new vacant seat, or do the new two candidates vote with the old members to fill the seat?
The newly elected board members along with the 4 sitting board members, so there will be 6, will be voting for the position that has been applied.
All right, now you all are in the know. And you probably know something that many people don't, but you were here and you got the word. Thank you very much, and the candidates will be here for a few minutes.
That's it.